I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, the board has to leave the stand except for Jeannie.
No.
We had such a fun time with this,
Who would have thought about welcome, this is a point in the agenda. There's a, hopefully you picked up an agenda where we elect a moderator. In the absence of electing a moderator, I will act as chair for the meeting. Yes.
Can I nominate Ann Richmond to be the moderator of the meeting?
Sure you
Can I second it?
Can I ask what being moderator means?
Fair question. It's a small per diem, like zero.
Yeah. But
You
we'll
just-
coach you.
Yeah, you just basically follow the agenda.
All right, where's the?
We have, with all
I need
those,
to swear you in.
You need to do
So-
it
all those in favor.
Wait,
Oh,
Yeah, oh, they need to do a vote, yes.
What if
It was
someone
moved
else wants to?
moved by Lisa and seconded by, to elect Ann. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? It carries. Ann,
Jeannie, for the record, could you say the names? You had Lisa, but the second for your tape anyway?
Ms. Odeker, she,
Okay.
Could have nominated you.
No.
Ann, would you come up and we'll swear you in and sign you in?
All right,
Raise your right hand.
come on.
I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of moderator at this Avon Township meeting
as moderator at this Avon Township meeting
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
You're elected.
Yay.
Yay. I need you to sign. Sign your own name. We might as well keep it legal.
Okay.
There we go. Sign in, have a seat. Right here. Yeah.
All right. I should probably take the agenda.
I don't have a seat, Ann.
Do I get the gavel?
You do, you get the gavel.
You only get to throw it once.
But how many times can I? Oh, yeah, it's so.
It's a lady thing.
We are now on the total minutes.
Accept the agenda.
All right.
Bill.
Has everyone seen the minutes from the
You know what,
April
I'll just get you
16,
one.
2013 town hall meeting? Not, they're there.
They're on the table.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We need a moment to look at the minutes.
It was moved by Chris Larson and seconded by Lisa Rush to accept the minutes.
Is there a discussion on the motion? Can we call for a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All right, motion carries. That brings us to item number 6. The clerk shall read the supervisor's annual financial statement.
There is a
Make 'em sweat.
annual financial statement, which was on the table, if you didn't pick it up.
Bill.
All right, I'll make a motion to, yeah, I was gonna make you sweat. I'll make a motion to the reading of the financial statement, because they're all here in print, to move the meeting along.
Second.
Seconded by Kathy Ingram. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Alright, that passed. Okay. Oh, now I get to introduce the township board. And introduce myself, or do I point out who you are?
If you want to.
Alright,
What can I stand to say about the introduction?
well, that would probably be better, because what if I mispronounce the names? Alright, how about supervisor?
My name is Lisa Rush, and I'm the supervisor at Avon Township.
Highway commissioner?
My name is Bob Kula, and I'm the highway commissioner for Avon Township.
Alright, assessor?
Absent.
No assessor? It's not very team-spirited. Alright, clerk?
Clerk Jeannie Kirby.
Trustee starting on my list.
Trustee Kathy DeGrove.
Trustee Chris Larson.
Trustee Lisa DeLamar.
I'm on this side of the room, trustee Bill McNeil.
Very good.
Good say. Good say.
And we have speakers. As item number 8, Kristen, assessor.
All right, I have his report. I'll just briefly go over it. There is copies on the desk. Let's see. He welcomes everyone. He is going through, next year is termed the quadrennial tax year of the general assessment year, in which the assessor must review each and every assessment to determine if the assessment represents fair market value or fair cash value and is uniformly assessed. And he goes on about that. He is preparing for that year. And the last thing says, which I like, is the county, well, not that I don't like the rest of it, but the county will hold 2 workshops in Avon Townships for seniors who need help in completing the tax senior assessment form. And his office will assist. One workshop will take place on April 10th at the Grays Lake Park District from 10 to 11, and the other on May 5th from 1 to 3 at the Round Lake Area Park District Senior Center. That's all I'm reading.
Speaker number 2, I'm glad to see you present in person, Bob Kula, highway commissioner.
Hi, everybody. So, just a recap for this year. We completed the, I think everybody's aware, we completed the North Circle Drive project. In that project, we ended up about $17,000 under budget. So I was very happy with that. The reason we ended up under budget is for a couple of reasons. I started doing more observation last year in my first year. So the engineering firm charges us for time on the job when they're out there inspecting the job and just watching the construction crew. So I took a more active role in that last year to keep engineering costs down. And then the other reason is that we do, I'm an erosion control inspector now, so certified through stormwater management. So we do, in-house, we do that. In previous years, we've had to hire that out. And so I do that now myself, so that saves us about, since we had, I think, 16 inspections last year on North Circle Drive, I was able to do that myself. So that saves at least about $2,000 from my estimates. Everybody knows what we did over there. We did curb gutter, new pavement, the whole works over there. And I'm just going to breeze through some of this stuff. We did our annual cleanup last year. Now the annual cleanup we reduced. We do the spring cleanup. I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but what we did last year is we're starting to recycle more. Usually it just comes in on the trucks, it goes in the dumpsters and gets hauled out. Last year I started a new program, so we started separating everything in the yard into plastics, even paper, all the metals, anything that can be recycled gets separated, and then so we reduced the dumpsters by I think about 50% last year. So it doesn't go in a landfill, which is really my main goal. And we did end up getting we recycled some of the goods. We had some money from that, so what we did with that was we just turned it over to the food pantry, so we use it to buy food. So, and what else? Oh, you know, what else we did? We did our first electronics collection last year, which I'm really excited about. We're gonna be doing that again this year. Haynesville is hosting one in a couple weeks, and I'll be volunteering my time over there to help them. But it's a great way to get those electronics out of the landfill as well. It's mandatory now anyway. You know, we did some work with Caroline North last year. We're gonna be helping them again this year. They have a lot of invasive species over there by Drury Lane. A lot of buckthorn and a lot of other, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the Mill Creek watershed, because it does flow into there, so we're gonna be working with Caroline North this year. We're actually working on a grant for Caroline North to help them with that. And what else? And then the winter.
It's not over yet.
It's over.
It's over.
Today.
Winter's over. So winter, just to give you an idea of the kind of winter we had, we responded to 55 winter-related events this winter, which is huge. Be it drifting, snow, ice, freezing rain. We spent a lot of time on the road. The guys did a great job this year, and we were able to do it and hang on to some salt. So we did make it through the winter. We still have a little bit, you know, if you look drive by our bin, we have a little bit, maybe 20 tons or so of salt still in the bin. So we started early, you know, when the winter started in November, towards the end of November, we took a long look at the long-term forecast for winter and kind of got the bigger picture here. So what we did is we started really managing salt and using outside temperatures and dew points to really figure out when and where we need, you know, when the best time to apply salt to minimize how much we need to put down to get the job done. So that's why we still have a little bit of salt with it, so I'm pretty proud of that. And then this year, we are starting a new construction project on Borson Avenue. Borson Avenue is over in Long Lake. What we're doing there is we're putting a new curb, new pavement, new storm system, badly needed storm system. They have a lot of flooding problems over there, so we're redoing all that. And we're also cutting a little bit of a roadway out. We're taking a hill. We have a hill that's really steep over there, so we're taking about a foot of that hill out, cutting it out, so that as the cars approach each other from opposite directions, they can see each other coming over the hill, because that's been a problem throughout the years. So we're doing that, and we did get a $85,000 grant we applied for, and did get through a community development block grant. So that helps. I think it's about 18 to 19% of the project it pays for. So, and that's about it. That's all right. Any questions? No? That's it. Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Next speaker, Lisa Rush, Supervisor.
I don't have a written report, but I have it, and I'll have a written report if anybody wants a copy of it. My name is Lisa Rush, and I am the supervisor, and I'm just going to go over a couple of things that we have achieved over the past year. It was a little bit of a rocky start in the beginning, but we have worked together as a team by working on committees and finding our niches and what are our strengths and our weaknesses and building on them as a group. We had a lot of suggestions last year on things to do, and one of them is partnerships. So we partnered with quite a few people. We partnered with Mother's Trust, which is a charitable organization that funds moms, basically, and their kids to make them have a better life. The Northwest Demo Project we have been partnering with for several years, and actually last Friday I attended a county board meeting and spoke at the county board meeting on behalf of that as well. The Northwest Demo Project, it sounds like we're going to break something down, but basically what it is, it's one of the routes of PACE that is between 6 townships, and it's more localized so that they can call and be registered, and it's for seniors and low income. Another one is a Safe Place. I attended a summit, and we partnered with them by meeting with them, and we now have a contact with referrals, and a Safe Place is in, I want to say, North Chicago, Waukegan, and a Safe Place is if a woman is abused or has no place to go, it's a great place to send her and her children. We have partnered with Village School. Thank you to Clerk Jeannie Kirby One of the things we did was a reading carnival, that I attended was a reading carnival, and another thing that we're doing is we're contributing towards their, and this is on a personal side, they have a school, a store, if you will, a school store, and they get points and little tickets for doing good jobs, and we've been contributing towards that. Catholic Charity, Meals on Wheels, this is something that we've just started. Within the supervisor's office, we have picked up a route on Meals on Wheels, and we are delivering Meals on Wheels. Makes sense? We also attended a social worker meeting. It's got a lot of social workers in District 116, did not have any clue what the townships can do, and we went to the meeting and let them know what we are and how we can help, and gave them faces to some of the names that they had spoken to. And then one of our newest ones, which hopefully we'll be ironing out this week or next week, is the Avon Township Community Food Pantry, who we are partnering with as well. We have attended quite a few events so that in our emergency and general assistance, we're able to help. I keep saying, reminds me of my English teacher telling me to stop saying that. And I did it again. We have acquired more resources. One of them is we attend a few more meetings. One of them is the Department on Aging, mortgage foreclosure mediation we went to, a homeless summit, on a Lake County Forum on Poverty. All of these gave us, if not the tools to help those who come within our office, but it gave us a great networking resource. So once again, we could put faces with names that we see on papers and stuff like that. Some of the things we have achieved within the township is we attend the Senior Expo every summer. We had a caseworkers meeting that we hosted and brought all the caseworkers in Lake County, and they all networked and helped out there, so that was good. That was the first time a caseworker meeting has been held in Avon Township, and I believe they said 7 or 8 years, so we're very happy that we were able to host that. We also opened up our building in the winter to, this room here was a warming center, and we offered food and games, and I would love to say that it was overly used, but it was not. But it was our first time trying it. It will be something we will also do in the future. We attended newly elected officials meetings. We attended general assistance meetings. We are definitely working on team building within Avon Township and working across the paths. We are working with Bob in his office by having Suzanne and Jeannie working on eliminating a lot of paperwork and documents that have built up over the years, and they're working together there. Suzanne is a great asset in the office too, with help. And Lupe has been helping you, and we are also, yes, and we are also working with, you can call them baby steps, but we're working with the assessor's office as well. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. One of the things that we'll be working on is when you get into the position, you're not quite sure, what you can achieve and how you can achieve it. And one of the things that I know is something that both Kathy and I were trying to achieve, and it was to put out a newsletter every 2 newsletters in a year. But we're really working. We're really trying to work on that, and we're really trying to make sure that we are in communication with our community. We have a Facebook page, which every time I go on, we have 2 to 3 new people who have liked us every week. We also have the reader board, which we have utilized, which I'm sure some of you saw, and that's why you're here, so that is great to know too. And we're coming up with a brochure that covers what the township does, and it includes all aspects of the township. And I think that is it. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes?
What about the website? A couple of times I've gone to the website for information, and it doesn't seem to be updated. Like I was looking for an agenda for this meeting, for example,
Okay, yeah,
It is hard to navigate to find where
It
the
is.
agendas are.
we're gonna work on, we are actually working on one of the things that we're hoping to do within the next year is to update our website and make it, you know, easier to use and easier to navigate. And update our computer system, I guess, if you will, at that end, because right now it's not, capable of moving beyond where it is right now. So I will do that as well. Yes,
One of the problems with finding the agenda for today is the drop-down menu doesn't show current.
Yeah.
You have to click on the tab that just says meetings. It's not included in the drop-down, but it is there, because I printed it out.
okay. Okay, so anybody have any other questions?
Kathy's got one.
Yes, Kathy?
Not a question, I wanted to add to your list that the board has worked very hard on our budget issues.
Yes, we have.
It was a huge project and has resulted in a very transparent budget based on realistic revenue numbers that we did not have before.
That is correct.
And we also developed new policies regarding grants and donations that adhere to state statutes. And we are currently rebuilding and restructuring our partnership with the food.
Right, and I did state that as well, so. Anything else?
Okay, I noticed trustees are not on this list, but since I got stuck with this job, I'm gonna open it up for trustees if you wanna say anything else.
Well, I would like to say what a privilege it has been to work with this group of people. We come from all different political viewpoints, but when it's time to do business for the township and for the people of our community, everyone is very like-minded. They're very positive, proactive, and all have the same goal of good government for our community. Thank you for the opportunity. Christopher?
I'm really just going to echo, Kathy's sentiments there. We did start off, as Lisa had mentioned, on a bit of a rocky road, and we have pulled together significantly over the course of this first year. I'm happy to be working with this group of trustees, with this board, with, the officials that have been elected here. I'm glad that we're all looking at things from a diligent perspective, bringing our own expertise to the table. Sometimes we get a little conflicted or combative during our conversations, but it's all for the betterment of Avon Township. So thank you all, to all of the trustees, all the elected officials for this opportunity.
Agreed, I double echo everything they've said. There are times where we're very an iron sharpens iron kind of group, and that's the best thing that could happen. Because all of our viewpoints together, all of our discussions together, flesh out usually the best possible scenario for a resolution. And so it's been really a great learning experience, it's been really exciting, and I appreciate serving on this board.
Must be my turn.
Oh, God.
As the senior trustee of this board, I am so proud of this board. Excuse me. With Chris and his numbers, Kathy, Lisa, and Elisa here. It's been a privilege. And Jeannie, and our lawyer keeps us out of trouble. So, no, it's been a privilege this last year. Like you say, it started off rocky, but we've come a long way in a year. So, with that in mind, I appreciate the people here tonight, which we don't see very often. And Gene, he's our true regular here. I really do appreciate the people here. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, a good job for the first year.
One more quick thing, sorry. I would also like to thank Jeannie. She has stepped into this role and just been dynamic. I mean, she has done such great organization and just facilitated us, like you would not believe. She has been the biggest asset that we have had, and we should all thank Jeannie for joining us.
Here, here.
Thank you. For a woman who doesn't like to take notes or write minutes, who would have picked it? But this is what I do. I'm also going to take an opportunity, though I'm not a trustee. This is my favorite meeting of the whole year. I think to have any form of government, any fraction of our government within the United States, to allow a meeting where the members of the community run the meeting and take over the meeting is at the epitome of democracy. And I appreciate you all coming here. Sometimes there are more, sometimes they can't fit in the room, sometimes there are less, but I think this is always just my favorite part of what, having the public here and having them take over the meeting. So thank you for coming.
All right, I have been advised by council that I can combine agenda items 10 and 11.
We need to do 9.
I'm so, oh geez. See, this is what you get when you pick one of the
You're doing a great job.
peanut gallery. All right, so we gotta do 9, but then I can combine 10 and 11. So, I need a motion to set next year's annual town meeting for 7 p.m. on April 14th, 2015. And do we really have any choice on this?
We don't have a choice as the date, it's always the second Tuesday unless it falls on
Is
an
that
election
the
day.
second Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless it falls on an election day, and then we go to the third
You checked,
Tuesday.
because I typed
And
it.
it's gotta be any time after 6 o'clock.
Okay.
All right,
I so move.
I second. Oh, let Lisa second. Lisa squared, seconded.
I got it.
And that's for the meeting at 7 o'clock on Tuesday?
discussion on the motion. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, now I get to combine 10 and 11. Other businesses necessary and public participation. Your chance. Our chance.
Yeah.
All right, Kathy.
Well, we must have done a good job.
We have done a good job, but I still have a question. Kathy Etker, Round Lake Beach. Couple of bills that are in the State House, HB 5644, which cuts the highway commissioner. First, I can't imagine cutting the highway commissioner. As you heard the report, some feedback from the trustees on how they feel about that bill. House Bill 5311 is to freeze the levies for townships. How that would affect you and what you think about that House bill. Lastly, at the Committee of the Whole, there was discussion of an efficiency study of the assessor's office. How does the assessor's office duplicate what the county does that requires half the budget? Why does the assessor not show up at meetings? When he does, he leaves early. Does he not feel that he's accountable to the township trustees or the township?
Can the only thing I'm going to speak on are the first two. I can't answer as to why the assessor does not show up and why he does not feel he's accountable. That would be something that you can directly ask him, call him in his office, but you're right, he should be here at the town hall meeting. In regards to the bills, I know that I and Jeannie and several of us have personally called our state reps and asked them to oppose both of those bills. I know that the first one about the highway commissioner is kind of dead in the water, so to speak. It hasn't hit committee. It was supposed to hit committee on 2 separate occasions, and it has not. The other one about the tax assessment freeze, it hit it 3 times, and 2 times it voted no, the 3rd time it voted yes. I think that's correct. I might be a little bit wrong.
It actually failed committee, it failed to make it out of the committee on the 3rd reading, they voted it down, so it is dead.
Well, because when I was, it died now in the 3rd.
On the 3rd reading.
Because last Friday, was it that we, that it was voted yes?
As of, I think it was our last board meeting was the day.
Okay, well, they re-voted it again and hit it Friday, and they voted yes to send it to the Senate. It's going to the Senate. So I would encourage, I asked our finance guy, Dave McCartan, which I forgot to mention my staff. My staff is amazing. If you have ever met Dave and Lupe, you seriously need to meet them. They're wonderful. Okay, move on. But I asked him, I says, if this bill passes, how much does that save each individual taxpayer? Would anybody like to take a guess?
Which bill?
The one that freezes your tax assessments. Anybody?
Highway or tax center?
$1.49. Okay, so it's making a lot of hoopla for a very little amount. Somebody had said, well, you've got to start somewhere. $1.49 I don't think is going to make or break us. So I don't, in our discussions on that, we have mixed views amongst us about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But for the most part, $1.49, I don't approve of the freezing of the tax assessments because I know that I would like someday to sell my house and to know that it's not going to move beyond a certain amount, who's going to want to buy it and move in the area. But for the most part, I don't think $1.49 is going to make or break us.
Do you know how our state reps, House reps stand on this bill?
Our state rep in this area voted yes for that freeze. I believe he was the one who, what? He sponsored the bill, and I believe, is he a co-sponsor of the other bill?
McSweeney's the sponsor.
Of the other one?
No, of the 5311.
Okay, what about the highway commissioner one?
Oh, that one's Yingling sponsor.
Okay,
Yes.
I believe he sponsored that one as well. So, he sponsored that. I don't know of, in the area who else would have done it, but since I kind of, could be good or bad, but I kind of focus on, where we are in the township, so. Any other questions in regards to that? Yes. Yes.
I'm David Quinn.
Hi, David.
Does the
Quinn.
assessor have a reporting relationship inside Avon
reporting?
Township? A reporting relationship.
What do you mean
I mean, are you
reporting?
his boss?
No.
Or does he have a boss?
No, you're his boss. You elected him.
Actually, I didn't.
Or the people?
The
I won't take
people
credit for
elected
that,
him.
Well, if I can clarify that though, he
Yes.
doesn't have a boss here. He depends on the town money in order to run his office. So the trustees actually have the fiscal responsibility to allocate money to his office.
Oh, okay, that answers my question.
We have purse strings.
Yes. Next question. And your name, please?
Denise Rothheimer.
Okay.
You had said that you contacted Sam Yingling to oppose 5311.
Yes.
He had stated that he had not received one phone call from a constituent in
Okay, he
opposition.
personally did not. I spoke to his assistant in both his Haynesville office and his Springfield office.
Well, I
So-
mean, that's still speaking to him, if there was on
That is
record.
true.
He claimed that there was no opposition.
Did anybody else
Actually,
call?
I
Yeah.
actually heard that statement live.
I watched
was
it.
watching him,
Yeah.
watching it.
Mhm.
And I also called him and also left a message with his office. But what he said was that he did not have any constituents that called him and said, please don't lower my taxes.
Mhm.
And of course, nobody calls him and says, please don't lower my taxes. What we said is, don't vote for this,
bill.
for this measure. So manipulated the wording. I couldn't say he lied, but I had the same reaction that you did when I heard it. It's a red herring. He's
Okay.
using words that weren't exactly meaning what they meant.
And then there was also the conversation of the 5 townships that were exempt in order to pass the bill for no other reason, just that they wanted to pass it through committee. They allowed those 5 townships to be exempt. Would this township go into the Senate asking to be exempt, or?
My understanding is that those townships that requested to be exempt from this, they were already involved with discussions because the township and the municipality were one in the same organization. And so there was already a lot of blending of lines between
Coterminous
those.
ones?
Yes, between them.
There's some townships that are coterminous. Zion Township is a coterminous, which means both its township and its town are the same thing.
So at this point, it's not an option under the conditions in which, but who knows what will happen. Politics are strange bedfellows. Fellows, if something happens and we find a way, I think, and I would hope the trustees would mirror this, but we get a lot of comments from the community about our highway commissioner. They love him, the job he's doing. He's done everything to save every single penny he can for this township. And we've all been very happy with his performance, and we would hate to see the areas that we serve go to the municipalities. And the municipalities don't want it because roads are a very expensive proposition.
I have a question. How does this year's budget compare with last year's budget?
Moderator
Chris is
recognizes
our,
Chris Larson.
Why, thank you, Madam
Resident
Moderator. This year's budget is significantly smaller, approximately $200,000 lower in expenditures. A lot of that is a result of a reduced tax levy of about the same amount. We had to tighten some purse strings this year. We had to balance our budgets. We had to spread those things out a little bit to break them out so they were more clearly reported. As an example, the official salaries and the employee salaries were all lumped together in the past. They're now not only separated between officials and employees, they're also separated by functional areas. So the town's officials, being the supervisor, the trustees, and the clerk, along with their employees, are covered out of that particular fund. The assessor's salary and his employees are covered entirely out of his subdivision of that fund. The highway department, the commissioners now being paid directly from that particular section. We've also made things a little bit more granular, a little bit clearer to see. I have a copy of that I'd be happy to provide to you. The office has one as well, and be happy to answer any detailed questions about that come up. All I can say is that after we took a tax levy reduction of 29%, we're looking at about $700,000 total across all of our funds on the town side as far as our levies, which I believe next to our neighbors is less than half. Lake Villa is 1.5 million, and then townships as large as Warren are 4.5 million. So we're operating on significantly less than neighboring townships. You know, trying to do the same types of work for larger population bases in some cases.
Can I ask a question about pensions?
Sure.
I
It doesn't have anything to do with, yeah.
Of the township, do any of the elected officials get pensions? with the-
I believe that they can participate in IMRF,
Yeah,
which
that's
is the
about it,
Illinois
yeah.
Municipal Retirement Fund. That's a
Right.
state-run program. There's a contribution that's made to that for those officials and the
Yes.
employees as well. I can't really speak to the specifics of that. I believe the staff here would be more knowledgeable on all of the specifics.
What specific questions do you have in regards, I'm dropping everything, what specific do you have? in
Oh, I
regards-
was wondering who are the participants? Is it the elected officials?
And staff, anybody over, I should remember this. It's actually a little less than full-time, because I worked at a library prior to this. So my IMRF, I had IMRF at a library, and now I have IMRF here. But at the library, I think I had to be 26.5 hours per week, so minimum is that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, other questions, comments, participation? I'm gonna channel Johnny Carson in a minute and throw some topics out. Okay, if nobody else has any topics, I'm gonna throw some topics out there for our board. There are lots of movements to make townships disappear. Board members, how do you keep the township relevant in our changing times and with decreasing budgets? And that's what we
Well,
all see.
One of the things, I mean, as I went through all of our partnerships with everybody and working with everybody and getting the word out, oh, thanks, Jean. Working with the Department of Aging, working with making us more out there, if you will, so that people know what we do and how we do it and how we can help. That is one of the big things that people needed to know, because as we all knew when we were walking the streets running last year, a lot of people don't even know what townships do. So we need to get out there and spread that word. When we spoke with the social workers for District 116, I think we opened up a lot of eyes there as to what we are, what we do. We just need to make sure that people know who we are, what we do, and how we can help them. No, you You want me to talk about that one?
Other board members wanna weigh in on that? I saw the other
Yeah,
Lisa.
well, I mean, a lot of what I was gonna say echoes Lisa's. I think we're a nice landing pad for our residents, and I think what sets us apart is a lot of charities are faith-based, which is great, you know, that's awesome. But I think people are sometimes less likely to go to a faith-based charity if it's not their faith. This gives them kind of a safe place to land, a place where it's where they live, it's their home. This is our home. It's all a part of our community, and to be able to have these resources here to extend out to whoever needs it is such a great service, because you know, you may not know what your neighbor needs. You may not know your neighbor has this need or that need, or that there are children who go home and don't have food on the weekends, which is one of the things we're trying to get started with the backpack program. It's a community homegrown grassroots sort of basic program to reach out to our neighbors, and it's almost like we all passed the hat around and said, okay, we're gonna distribute it the best way we can with very specific bylaws, and so that the right people are getting the money.
If I could address that as well, one of the ways that we keep it relevant is to make sure that we are constantly looking at our communities that are within Avon Township and what their needs are and how we can serve them better. And we do that not only just through the different kind of meetings and channels that we have with professionals in the area, we also do it because we are all citizens and we all live in our communities and we know our neighbors and bring that back to the township as well about what's going on. And I'll bring up an example with Avon Township Youth Baseball. It was, and Chris really was the catalyst for this. He did a really great job. It was falling by the wayside. We knew that there had been a history. We knew that there was a need because a lot of families cannot afford the fees that park districts are charging for baseball. And we know that getting kids engaged with activities is a way to keep them out of trouble. So we set up some meetings, we talked about how it's funded, we've given some suggestions. So that's another way that we try to keep things relevant is we keep, as individuals, we try to keep our pulse on what's going on. Talk to people that come in. Almost every township official has been into the food pantry and helped out with the food pantry and talked to the people that come into the food pantry to find out, you know, their needs as well and how they feel about what we're doing here and how we can make that grow in the future as well. I think, and one more point. They talk a lot about, you know, putting all of the responsibilities that a township government has into state officials. And I think we really need to think about the ability of our state government to meet the needs of individuals and to meet the needs of a community. We become one in a million, and they don't really know the flavor of our community, they don't know the tenor of our community, they don't know the people of our community, and that we're more efficient and we're better served keeping it local rather than making it a state entity, and that's a political statement, and I stand by it, gosh darn it.
Other questions and comments?
I have a comment. Chris, who does the Avon Township Youth Baseball, I want to thank you. All of my kids went through there. That is an awesome program.
For the record, I don't run the program.
Okay.
There are family members of mine that actually are involved with that directly, with their board.
Give
But-
Clay kudos, because he
Yeah,
does,
I
he's
mean,
out there all the time.
certainly kudos to
Actually, pass it
Clay
on.
Crutcher.
All of my
And-
boys, and
I will certainly pass that along to him tonight.
thank you.
The highway department we were there today, actually. Not to cut you off, Chris, but, I mean, that's how the highway department, you know, there's always a lot of talk about how the highway department is relevant, given the mileage we have, but it's not just what we do, you know, with the roads that we're in charge of, it's how we get involved with the community, you know, I was writing some notes here while you guys were talking. Round Lake Park, for instance, the village of Round Lake Park, we partner with them for a lot of projects. We have equipment, you know, that they don't have, and they have equipment that we don't have, so we work together. Instead of us going out and purchasing a big piece of equipment that puts a burden on our budget or vice versa, you know, they'll call us up and we'll go out and we'll work with them on their project. If we need a jet rotor, which is tens of thousands of dollars, which is just not something feasible for us, we call up Round Lake Park and they come out immediately and help us. And that's just one village, you know, then you have a village like, you know, Third Lake. Third Lake is an incorporated village. And we take care of their roads. We snowplow their roads in the winter because they don't have a public works department. They're too small, so, you know, we took it on for them, so we provide a low-cost, snow removal for them. So, you know, it's just another village that we partner with, and this goes on and on with all the 7 surrounding villages within the township. It's not just what we do in-house on our roads, it's what we do with everybody. We all work together, and that's what makes the highway department, the township highway department relevant. It really does. We were out there today at the ball field. They have a flooding problem over there. We installed actually about, I think, I'm going back now, 20 years ago, maybe a little bit more, we installed all the storm drains in there. They're all filled with gravel now over there. So we were over there today trying to help out Clay, who's the groundskeeper over there in charge of the township, or the baseball field. So we were over there today. We spent a few hours over there trying to alleviate that problem. And just getting back to that partnership, because we have a working relationship with everybody, I was able to call Painesville. And Jeff over at Public Works came over immediately with a jet rotor. His didn't work, but then I got on the phone and I called the village of Round Lake. I called Ron. I said, "Hey, Ron, it's Bob." He said, "What do you need?" I said, "I need a jet rotor over at the ball field because these kids are starting baseball in a couple weeks. Can you help me out? I'll have one over there in 30 minutes." And I'll be damned, in 25 that jet rotor was at the ball field helping us out to get this problem taken care of. So that's how the highway department's relevant. We work with all the communities, just not for what we're in charge of, but partnering together with the townships to continue to make the highway department relevant.
Other questions and comments? If not,
I'd just like to make one comment. Where else, anywhere, that the people run a meeting? I don't know how that works with the villages. Hey, let's go downstate, we're gonna run the people. Take it over. Let me know how that works for you. You know, that's why township is the best government of all. They work with the people.
It's the closest level.
It's the closest level. Thank you, Lisa. So remember that when you elect the other politicians and stuff like that, when you talk to your state reps, your county board members, the village officials, and say, yeah, your vote counts. And I'll echo it again. I appreciate everybody here tonight.
well, I do like townships, but I'm a little partial to library boards myself. All right, so I have another topic. We heard earlier, money is down, taxes were slashed, which is having a lasting impact on the township's budget. At the last meeting in the committee of the whole, I heard a lot about the assessor's office who's not able to cut his budget in any way and make do with less. I know that many of us have suffered the effects of the economy and we might do with less. What would the board members like to say about what they're doing to improve efficiencies and to see where they can improve things? And from the community, what are your suggestions to help your township officials make it do with the budget they have? And I see Chris Larson's ready to jump up and talk.
I know that Supervisor Rush had earlier mentioned, some technology initiatives this year. There are a lot of efficiencies to be gained at a low cost, which are going to help us operate a little bit more leaner and expand some of the things that we can do within the township from an outreach perspective. Not just with the charitable side of things, where we try and help out other programs and direct people to the appropriate places, but potentially also with the baseball program to provide them some infrastructure support. Upgrades to our website to make them responsive and usable on mobile sites, to make them easier to navigate, not just for people who are using older computers, but for younger people who are using their phones all the time. Gene, you're a younger person now. So technology initiatives are going to help us drive a lot of that. It doesn't necessarily mean less staff, it means being able to do more with the less staff and the less funding that we have. By partnering with like the Avon Township Community Food Pantry, that is one of those types of things where we can assist them in getting started for the next year to two. to get them rolling, to get them to become more self-sufficient, sort of that transition process. And I believe that's something that was always intended, was for the food pantry to be a separate entity from the township. But we would support them by giving them room, by giving them the necessary assistance, and this is a push to get them to the point where they can operate on their own within our building. That's one of those things where we're transitioning from providing those employees to not providing them in the future by helping to get them to be able to provide their own. So that's certainly a big cost-saving initiative. From the other departments, I know that Commissioner Kula has gone through a fine-tooth comb, and he's working on a couple of very strained, equally chopped levies. And he has been trying to find, there have been meetings where he's come in and said, I saved us $27 a month on this. Because that little bit actually makes a difference in some of his budgets. They're that tight. He's got one fund that I think is $36,000, $37,000 a year is what he has in a fund that's supposed to cover all of his trucks and equipment. So, with a new truck costing $100,000 to $200,000, depending on how it's outfitted, just the maintenance of the vehicles he has right now is almost difficult. So he's looking at everything. I know the assessor was not happy when we had talked and said, here's what you want, here's what we have available for you. He's started to try and find ways to make that work slowly but surely. It's a tough thing, and I know that Supervisor Rush, when we went through chopping that portion of the budget for the town side and the GA side, there were some heated discussions there. So, everybody's cutting in places where, our outreach committee, their funding has been slashed. We've cut everything that we could find that was an unnecessary expenditure, or, but still be able to fund some of it as best we could to be able to continue to provide services with the little that we have right now.
It was very disappointing when we were unable to assist the food pantry with the employee. It was not something that we wanted to do. It's just something that we needed to do, and I understand it wasn't in the best. It wasn't. It was just very disappointing on all sides that it was unable to come to fruition. And I hope that today, when we go over things, that we will be able to help and move forward with that plan.
Being on the board of the food pantry, which is a not-for-profit, it is not run or owned by the township and never has been. I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of us. Wendy Warden, the president, is in, she's partying down south. I can't, New Orleans is where she's at. So I wanted to say thank you to the board for what you have done for us. This is a significant cut that the board had to make. I believe easily over $40,000 the pantry has lost. Giving has been amazing from people, but given this economy, we are hoping not to cut the hours. At this point, Wendy is running it for free. The other board member and I are coming in on the third Saturday and running it to cut costs. So we appreciate it, but it's a significant cut to the food pantry, so we'll be looking for donations. And again, we thank you all. We thank the people the companies and the individuals who have given.
Feel free to spread the word to get donations from your friends, families, any businesses that you frequent, and feel free to come in and volunteer your time. It's a very rewarding type of volunteering to do.
And Bob, thank you for the highway department, your storage space, how you help us move stuff.
You're welcome.
And that's significant to us.
You're welcome.
In answer, I just want to make one statement regarding your question. I think the hope of, at least the senses with the trustees and with the supervisor, is that we're willing and quite frankly have to make these adjustments to our budget. But our hope is that we get past this time And that as we support this community and this community grows, that property values raise, which in turn means more money, which in turn means our ability to better serve the community. There are huge holes. We know there are huge holes. We've talked about in the past about a hole in this community regarding services to youth, and how we service our kids that are in school or just out of school, and what prospects we have for them for things like summer work, and how we get them involved in their community so that they become stronger citizens. And, you know, those are all things that we want to look at, and so our best hope is that we cut now and build a little bit of what we need to do so that we can readdress it and be in a better place in the future to address some of those holes that we all have identified and know that need to have work on.
Here, here.
More comments?
I have one comment. In the beginning of this process, we worked together and developed this very elaborate and detailed survey and newsletter, and it turned out to be like 5 pages long. And during the course of reality check, after the numbers that we were working with were not there, Lisa came up and staff came up with an elegant solution of a brochure. It really condensed the heart of all that work into something that can be mailed very cheaply. It can be printed in-house. And so the process ended up with an elegant solution. So I'm looking forward to finding some of those projects in the future. You're like, oh, this is horrible. Well, sometimes you gotta go through the pain and then something else comes out that's even better. So that's what I'm hoping for the rest of our year.
Can I just have a show of hands? How many of you have internet access and have email at your home? Would you raise your hand? Internet and email access. Okay, thank you.
All right. As moderator, I can keep coming up with topics. Would anyone like to come up and do a song and dance?
No, I think that's better now.
We have another meeting.
All right.
Everybody's saying.
So there is the regular town meeting?
Yes, so we'll adjourn this meeting and then we'll do the regular town. You're welcome to stay for our general meeting that is after this meeting, or you don't have to if you don't want to. It's just business as usual for our meeting, so.
It's pretty exciting. It's your
We
it's
think
your
it's
government.
exciting.
It's your government in action.
That's
Okay.
right.
So, like, you get to complain after you come to a meeting if you don't like what they said. When you get involved, you get the right to complain. All right, there's nothing else, then is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
All right,
I'll
is
second.
there a second? Bill and Bob.
I got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any free legal advice? All right.
Done. Oh, she got the.
Yay.